Muy al norte de California está Willits, el hogar de Protopipe, una de las pipas que fue la primera pipa de muchas personas.
My dream is we build villages that are connected by the little train, and we create a place where we don't need automobiles anymore.
Este es un lugar que contiene un montón de información histórica sobre nuestra comunidad y información que se ha ido recopilando por más de 5 décadas.
The state, the feds, my phones had been tapped. The city, the county tried to kick us out of here many times. We're always under the threat of the law.
Y hoy vamos a conocer a la familia detrás de esta creación, un proyecto muy bonito, y vengo a presentar mis respetos. ¡Oh! Llegamos a Protopipe. El auto no era tan malo.
No, pero esto, pues mira el mapa culiado, no me está saliendo bien.
Nunca estás feliz.
Puta la
Yo
weá.
estoy súper feliz. El día 1.
El día 1, a otro país.
Y nos equivocamos de país. Muy al norte de California está Willits, este pueblo muy pintoresco que es el hogar de Protopipe. Para muchos de ustedes quizás no signifique nada ese nombre, pero para nosotros y para muchas personas en la industria del cannabis es un nombre importantísimo, es un nombre legendario de una de las pipas que fue la primera pipa de muchas personas. Llevan más de 50 años haciéndolo. Guerra de Vietnam, pasaron Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, pasó de todo y Protopipe sigue acá. Y hoy vamos a conocer a la familia detrás de esta creación, un proyecto muy bonito. Yo estoy nervioso y honrado porque fue mi primera pipa, entonces mi historia de origen en el cannabis también está enlazada con la historia de Phil y vengo a presentar mis respetos. ¡Oh! Llegamos a Protopipe.
My name is Phil Jergenson. I'm a designer. People would know me by, or my product is this thing called a Protopipe. I designed this, I believe, in around 1970, set up my business in a warehouse, and I started collecting machines so that I could make these. The first year, I sold very few, and then I had to shut down and become a carpenter for several years in Southern California. So this is my playground. What I think is my most important project is something called Grid Beam.
All right.
And it's open source, meaning there's no patents. Anyone can make their own grid beam. All the parts are interchangeable. It's a fun new way to build whatever you dream up. For instance, this little vehicle right here has only about 20 feet of grid beam in it.
We've talked about this before. You explained me that this is modular.
It's modular construction, yeah. That is a electric motor on the front end there. And then the back wheels, you see how simple I make things? That's a bolt welded onto a plate. That's how simple things can become. I have some friends in wheelchairs, and so I made this so you can sit here and it. Okay, so, and you can carry luggage or camping equipment and stuff like that on it.
And this is open source, like anyone can come and copy your plans.
I show them how to make their own grid beam.
Okay.
So, but look how simple this is under here. Okay, it doesn't get any simpler than this.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mess in here, but
no, we love the mess. This is perfect.
It's my playground.
Yes.
My dream is we build villages that are connected by the little train, and we create a place where we don't need automobiles anymore. We don't need to create asphalt jungles, which is what we're doing. We need to live in nature, and we can do that. We've done it before. We need to go back to what worked for people a long time ago.
But
we can bring some technology with us, like a railroad to get around on, a little tiny one. I'm trying to make the tiniest practical railroad. I built my first portable house and I moved to Mendocino County. I moved it to a guy who was kind of crazy. He had just got out of prison. His grandfather had bought him the property. He picked me up hitchhiking because the clutch went out on my truck from hauling my portable house. I burned my clutch out. So he invited me to his property and he turned out just to be a hellraiser. From there I moved to Harbin Hot Springs over in Lake County. I was there during a winter. We were stealing electricity off the power lines. Everybody had electric heaters in their cabins. I had built a little wood stove out of a propane tank the summer before. And so I heated my cabin with that. And PG&E came out and they unhooked the power the day before or after Christmas, and then it snowed about 18 inches. I started making pipes there in the basement of one of the buildings because that's the only thing that I knew how to make them by then. My first job out of school was I worked in an architect's office building models.
Did you went to university?
I never went to school. I went right to work in an architect's office. I worked there for about 4 years, and then I started smoking weed, and I realized there's no good pipes out there. When I was just getting started with Protopipe, I was selling on the streets of Berkeley. People kept asking me directions.
No.
And so I drew this map.
This is your drawing.
Yeah, and I didn't draw just, this is Berkeley. I didn't draw just every street. I decided I'm gonna draw every building accurately. And it took me about maybe 2,000 hours. And I finished it because people were betting I wouldn't finish it.
I'm Rona Jergenson. I'm Phil's daughter. So I had just graduated college, and then I was working a wine job. I had actually already moved home too, because I couldn't afford rent. So I was already living in Willits, commuting an hour and a half to my wine job, and then I would commute back. And wine jobs are seasonal, so my season came to a close, and my dad had just gotten like Protopipe. They were starting to clean it. Well, I do the shipping and the communication with customers. I also do the wholesale. Like, I don't have any siblings, and I've always longed for one, but I realized later in life that my dad is actually like a little kid. Like,
this is all grid beam. This is the biggest thing I built. It's a big
Nice.
trailer that goes down the highway at 60, 70 miles an hour. It folds down, it's only 3 feet high, has batteries. It's a complete solar power system on wheels. One Christmas, I went to Berkeley and sold in one evening, one afternoon, $500 worth of pipes. A man who claimed to be a record promoter was watching me when I was selling, and he approached me and said, "You are selling a lot of these pipes, and I would like to offer my services. I would like to help you finance your company and really make this turn into something." So I gave him my address and phone number, and literally the next day, and he had a briefcase, and we went into the back room and he opened it up. It had $100,000 in cash in it. And he said, "Phil, I'm gonna make you some offers. You have 3 choices here. One, we can be 50-50 partners." And by the way, at that time, I wasn't calling it a Protopipe. I had a really kind of a crappy name. I was calling it the smoking contrivance. And then, so the second choice was, I will buy you out. If you don't want to be my partner, I will pay you $30,000. And you'll show me and one of my friends how to make the pipes. And the third one is, I'm going to make the pipes anyway, with or without your permission. So what do you want to do? And I was like, well, let's try number 1. He thought a good name for it would be the tomato pipe. And let's put it in a tin can, which is kind of a gag from I think the 50s. He had the money, so I made 50 pipes and let him do this experiment. About 2 weeks later, my pipes were showing up at different head shops around town, and the cans were all stacked in the window. It was kind of a neat display, but my pipes didn't need another gag. They stood by themselves, but it just had a crappy name. And I realized, I think the guy's gonna rip me off, and he did. He hired a machinist to start making them on the side. And I told him, "Come and get your cans. I see who you are." And I was taking photos of him. I still have the photos. Well, I took one close-up photo and he jumped me. He tried to jump me and destroy the camera. I'm getting ripped off by a guy who's got all the money. My pipes were showing up at shops all over the Bay Area. And we were sitting around one night, and a friend of mine, Reinhold, was trying to say prototype pipe, and it slipped out. He said Protopipe. It's like, what'd you just say? That's the name. That is the perfect name for this pipe. And the initials were PP, Protopipe. And I thought, gee, that kind of looks like the Rolls-Royce emblem. So, and I have a quality product. I came up with that logo. I made these displays out of plexiglass and walnut. And that's when we ran into Larry Todd. Richard found Larry Todd. So we started this company then called Protopipe. Richard would find these shops and he would go in and he would ask them for a Protopipe, and they say, oh, we have this tomato. And we found the guy was using real thin material and he was gluing parts together. So Richard he had these iron jaws. He'd bite down and smash the mouthpiece, take the poker and pop the collar off and throw it on the counter. I said, no, I want a Protopipe. This is crap. And I would go in the next day with my briefcase and Protopipes. And I said, I heard you guys are looking for these. And so I went out, we went around and we knocked him off in every one of these stores. And so we really didn't ever hear from him again.
I met Larry when I went to score some pot from my dealer in San Francisco. And he was there also getting some pot. And our friend goes, hey, you guys, I've been telling you about each other and here you are. So we immediately got together, we partied, and that's how you find out if you're gonna get along with somebody is you spend time casually. And our business, Phil and I's, the pipe business was growing and we needed help, and we hired Larry immediately, and he started not only helping us make pipes, but he took over the graphic illustration end of the business. I see the Probot is out here. That was Larry's contribution. One of his gifts was he gave the business this robot, and it became our iconic spokesperson, you know, like in Firestone tires.
Yeah,
and
Michelin
tire guy. So the Probot, that was our gift that Larry gave us, one of many gifts. He was so prolific and so inspiring to be around. I'm happy to say I had a 50-year friendship with him, and he just left us. Left a big hole in my life because he was just so bigger than life. There is not a day that goes by that I do not think about Larry. And not only because I come here daily, but you'll see later. He's very much a part of who I am today.
Our late friend Larry Todd, who passed away this last year, he did much of the original artwork for Protopipe and really helped bring their branding into the limelight with his creative cartoons and his instruction sheets that he did for us. But he was originally famous for his Dr. Atomic character. It was an underground comic book, and he used to basically smuggle information about underground stuff like growing weed and how to do things that you couldn't normally publish on its own. So people that were fans of his would read between the lines and basically gain this knowledge from somebody who was living in ground zero and doing it. He used to send out seeds, packets of seeds of stuff he was growing to people with his comics. And a lot of people discovered genetics that way. And yeah, we ran into somebody last week who was underground comic artist, and he knew exactly who Larry Todd was, and basically went a 30-minute story about how his comic books, changed his life, how he grew the seeds. He was living on the East Coast, and he said like nobody had seen weed like that. It was just Larry was up here in the heart of it in Mendocino County.
I was getting attacked. The state, the feds, my phones had been tapped. The city, the county tried to kick us out of here many times. We're always under the threat of the law. And then when Ronald Reagan got in and they declared the war on drugs, I didn't want to be busted. I didn't want to go to jail. And so I passed it on to a friend of mine. He was homeless at the time, but he didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't do anything illegal. And he was wanting to start a business. So I said, okay, here you go. Sold it to him, and we financed it very cheaply for, I shouldn't say I gave it to him, but he had no money. And so he paid us over a 3 or 4 year period, $150,000, which disappeared like that between three of us. didn't go very far. But I wanted to make a grid beam. I thought that's the next thing I'm going to do. I'll just leave the pipe behind.
How is that going?
Well, it didn't.
So this is a program called Fusion, 3D modeling program. So with these new machines we have to give the machines code to be able to know where to cut and position and what tool to use. And you can see in here, I let the machine do the math for me. I can put in my measurements, the locations, the exact size, and I can translate that to the machine. So I know that the final product is gonna be exactly the right size down to 1/100th of a millimeter. I'm doing 42 at a time right now, and this machine takes about 4 or 5 hours, but the beauty of it is once I get the machine going, there's 4 programs that I run, and each program runs for over an hour, and while it's running, I can go work on something else.
Estamos entrando ahora al archivo privado de Richard, el hermano de Phil. Este es un lugar que contiene un montón de información histórica sobre nuestra comunidad y información que se ha ido recopilando por más de 5 décadas. No está abierto al público, así que Richard tuvo la amabilidad de abrirlo para nosotros y les vamos a mostrar una pequeña parte de la colección que hay acá.
So what we have here is, I've been chasing the counterculture history for, gosh, my whole life, really. Well, this is an archive, first of all. Archives basically feed museums. This is 1 year for Protopipe. This is the year 1982.
Yeah, this is like the reefer madness propaganda, right?
Yeah.
So you were trying to build a brand in the cannabis industry while the reefer madness publicity was out there?
Well, we didn't have a choice. It's just you just got to go with the winds of change as they're blowing. And we created a petition, and so we got hundreds of signatures from the local townspeople. We won. We got to stay. We invited the Willits City Council to come and visit us, let us show you what we're doing. We're teaching people how to operate machinery, giving them skills. So anyway, this represents 1 year. So this is the second pipe ever made right here. After seeing Phil's pipe, I immediately made the second one because he wouldn't let me use his. Because I made the second one because, making the first one's that's the toughest one, but this one was pretty easy because I had one to follow. You ever heard of a director by the name of Alejandro Jodorowsky?
Yes.
El Topo.
Oh, of course.
El Topo. Boy, oh boy.
Why is that here?
Because this movie, when this came out, this was what probably started what came to be known as underground cinema. They would show this at one of the popular underground theaters. You got to have a smoke before you go and see this one because it's going to blow your mind. Here's a fun one. So the woman who made this poster, she put herself through university off of the proceeds from selling this poster. So all these little sight gags, she didn't miss a trick.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
That was product placement.
That's cool. The future generations of the cannabis culture, if you have one idea to let them know, like, don't forget this, what would that be?
The counterculture didn't start yesterday. People have been using this plant for thousands of years. It's just shocking that we're still in the Stone Age with this particular plant. I'd like to see our culture moving more towards growing hemp. I mean, I think we have plenty of cannabis. Let's get some hemp.
We are all neighbors, and we all have to figure out how to get along in spite of even, political differences. We're all human. We all have the same needs. We need to come together whenever we can in peaceful ways and debate peacefully and talk about our differences, because we don't have that many differences. We all have the same needs. We all love our families. And again, we're all neighbors.
los años 70. Mi papi fue rockero en los años 70. Mi papi bailaba disco en los años 80. Pero ahora mi papi no quiere que sea artista. Mi papi no quiere